I am excited to introduce our next presenters. That we have Valerie and Jason with their wedding things. So Valerie and Jason, very involved here at Asmbly. Valerie's our executive director. And in addition to doing a lot for Asmbly, they're able to utilize Asmbly for their own lives as well. And I think this is a really great way to show that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to pass this mic off to you.
So yeah, we're Valerie and Jason. You might have seen us around here. We make a lot of stuff. We try to use the shop and make stuff for the shop. We made all of these things for Classic Game Fest, which actually is in town this weekend. And we also made the table and the laser room that everything is sitting on there. So we like to make a lot of stuff. So we got married recently, and we decided that thank you. We decided that we wanted to have our own fingerprint on the wedding and make a lot of our own stuff. And we realized not only do we have very high standards and we feel like if we make it, then it's right, and if anyone else does, it's wrong. We also realized it would be a lot cheaper if we just made the fancy things ourselves than hiring other people to do things for custom, because it's expensive when you do things custom. So yeah, these are on the TV, some of the things that we made, and we're going to go through talking about some of these individual things here. So here you go.
So the very start of it was just figuring out what is the look going to be. And so we started with colors, and we came up with this color palette based off of my engagement ring. We knew that we wanted a pretty small wedding party. We just had 4 people each, and we wanted our wedding party to be a gradient of colors rather than everybody wearing the same color. So we came up with this green to kind of like indigo purpley blue as our gradient for the wedding party, and then we added in a 5th color that we could use for accenting to give us more range there. And then from there we went on to look for fonts. We knew we were going to use the laser cutter for a lot of stuff because we joined for the wood shop, and as soon as I found out about lasers, I was like, ooh, this is really fun. I love graphic design, and basically if you know anything about vector graphic design, you can do anything with the laser. So we were looking for a stylized script font where all of the letters could be connected to each other so that any elements that we cut out on the laser, we don't have to painstakingly align everything when we're attaching that to something else. It's just one object. And so my go-to place for finding fonts is dafont or dafont.com. One thing that I really love is that you can type in your text that you're planning on using and search with that with some additional filters and go ahead and preview the text that's going to be, what you're using and see exactly what it looks like. So through that process, we picked this really stylized script that we used. And then from there, I also wanted to have something that was kind of stylized but very legible so that we had a fancy font, so to speak, that was very easy to read. And then just a clean, plain font that we could use for communicating things and having like a hierarchy of fonts. From there, then we started thinking about what materials do we want to use. There's a lot of suppliers that we commonly order from. One of them is Okuch Hardwoods, which is an online ordering store, and they sell project-ready wood. And you can get solid hardwoods in a variety of species, but you can also get a variety of species of plywood, different thicknesses and dimensions. So we decided on using African mahogany as one of the main woods throughout our designs, in part, well, one, because we just love the way that it looks. The ribboning on African mahogany and the chatoyance in the wood is really beautiful. The color is nice and rich. We've also built some things together with African mahogany, so that was our go-to there. And then plywood, who doesn't love, not plywood, walnut. I mean, plywood, who doesn't love plywood? But also walnut, who doesn't love walnut? It's gorgeous, it goes with everything. And Okuch sells these walnut plywood sheets that are really beautiful. So we selected that. And then Houston Acrylic is my favorite acrylic supplier. They are basically the Amazon of acrylic. They are actually in Houston, Texas, and sometimes you get your order the next day when you order from them. So especially when you're realizing, like, on a last-minute project, like, oh, I did not get enough of that. Having that be your supplier is really good. And so we had a variety of acrylics that we got from them. And then also for our wedding favors, we wanted to make something that was both beautiful and functional that people would actually use, because maybe you've been to a wedding and gotten wedding favors that you didn't even leave with because you were like, I don't really want that. And we didn't want that to be the case for our wedding, so we decided that we wanted to have these custom stemless wine glasses. Even the kids got one with their name engraved on it, because we got something similar at a wedding that we went to, and we love it and use it all the time. So we ordered these from JDS Industries, which is a wholesale supplier that has a bunch of materials that you can customize. They were $1 a glass, so it was like an incredibly cool thing that we were able to do very cheaply. And then we also used Chicago screws in the signs to do this layered look, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But if you're not familiar with Chicago screws, I do have some that we can pass around, but essentially it's this two-piece screw, and one of the pieces has a smooth rod that you would put through your materials, and the backing, I don't think my cursor, oh, it is showing. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so the backing here, you can see is a flathead that you're able to tighten in this rod here, but on the front, you just get this nice brushed brass look. So, thickness matters here. You want to make sure that your materials are about the height of that, or that you've got, room with the threading to squeeze it tight to hold it in place. But these are a really inexpensive thing. You can get them on Amazon, and it gives a really nice, fancy look to your thing. So I won't talk about the wedding invitations much, but one of the things that we did at Asmbly for those is these wood veneer stickers. This is African mahogany sticker-backed veneer that we got at Fine Lumber and Plywood just around the corner from Asmbly. This is one sticker here with several attachment points. Very painstaking to take the backing off of those without breaking the veneer, because it is very thin wood. We were very strategic about the grain direction with this to try to optimize for that and also get the best look. And another thing that we did, thanks to the help of the lasers here at Asmbly, is we made ourselves a little jig that followed along the contour of the bottom of the sticker so that we could line that up with the bottom edge of the invitation and be able to place those stickers on 100+ invitations in exactly the same spot and not be too painstaking about that. And then we also used the wood veneer stickers to just have these little corner attachments on the invitation. So then we switched over to the walnut plywood for our main big signs at the event. When you order wood online, you kind of don't know what you're going to get. You don't get to pick out your material in person. So as soon as we got the order in, we looked at the grain on each of these and thought about the different signs that we wanted to make, and strategically chose, we kind of designed around and chose the material that we used for each of these based on features in the wood. So for instance, with our event sign, we really liked this vertical grain that kind of acts as a dividing line. and used that in the design to highlight the times for the events and create a little bit of a separation from the events themselves. With the memorial sign, we kind of centered it around that nice mirror. And with all of these signs, you can see there are elements that we rastered into it. That's where you see the darker lettering. The other parts are acrylic that's sitting on top of it. And in the wood, we just etch where that goes to make the alignment really simple and keep that looking nice. So one of the most fun ones was doing all of the smaller signs that are out around, and we're going to pass some of those around. These Chicago screws are not very tight, so if one falls out, don't worry about it. But the thing that we really loved about working with these materials specifically with this type of design is that you get the full range of contrast, because when you etch into acrylic, you get when you raster into it, you get white. And so we raster into the back of the acrylic to keep it nice and smooth and clean on the front. And then when you raster into African mahogany specifically, you get a really beautiful, deep, rich black-brown. And so those two tones plus the African mahogany, you just get a really beautiful range of tone with this, and it gives a lot of flexibility in a design to really do some cool stuff. And I'll pass this one around too, because it's my favorite. But also, you know, working with the lasers, you can vectorize things, and so we etched our actual signatures into it, which is really fun and special. And using that design, we designed our seating chart, and we knew that we were using a structure from the venue that was 6'8", 2'7" wide, and I created the design in Illustrator based on those dimensions there. And we kind of knew, like, oh, we want this to have a floating look. That won't be too hard. We'll figure that part out later. And later became the week before the wedding. And we were, you know, trying to say, we're not going to do any more wedding projects starting the Tuesday before the wedding. And then we're like, oh, crap, actually, what we thought we were going to do is not going to work so well. And so I passed this problem over to Jason.
So we originally thought we were just going to hang things with wires and in between everything, and we realized that having wires trying to connect all of these screws together and be the same length in the alignment would just be a nightmare. And so we had to go back to the drawing board and come up with some, what did we really care about? So the things we wanted were, we had to have it appear floating so that they didn't look like they were connected. We wanted it to stay, very aligned. We wanted the thing to be sturdy so that if, you bumped into it, it wouldn't break. And we needed to make it so someone else besides us could put it together quickly and have it look good and be reliable, and have it be almost impossible to do wrong so that it only goes together the right way. And then we had to pack it all into a small tub to bring in with a sticker. And so pretty much all these ideas were in conflict. And so we figured out a way of doing it. And right now we've got it set up with clamps, because about an hour ago setting this up, the original approach of hanging the top from wires, the wires broke, the whole thing fell, a bunch of pieces shattered, and so we somehow got something back together. But
we didn't have the same wire, and the wire we had was only 5 pound rated, and this is a little bit more than 5 pounds, so yeah.
So I'm going to turn this around
Stuff
now,
happens.
and Alex, you can grab that one and just rotate it. Yeah, sure. Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah. Also, I built this frame last night at midnight over in the wood shop. So.
Woohoo!
All right. So what's going on here is we made these plastic spines, and here's one that broke that I can hold up. Or yeah, this one goes to, I think, that. Maybe, no, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the idea was because we didn't have a case long enough to hold anything the whole length, I had to make backing pieces that were like separated. And so I'm going to take this thing apart right here so you can see what's going on. But these little squares you see on here are hooks. And so this was another midnight project. We realized we had a lot of plywood and a laser. What can you do? You can make a hook if you make a 1 square inch piece and then a 1.5 by 1 piece on top. You get a little overhang lip, and then you have to leave enough space in between so that like when you put it on the hook, like it doesn't bump into the one above it, because if you can't assemble it because it hits the other one, then you can't assemble it. So we had some clear acrylic. We only had enough to make the pieces we have, so we hope we didn't mess up. And we have 3 what I call spines up here, and then we had 3 spines down here. And the idea was this row of things hung from hooks on the top piece. And then this row of things, the top of it hung from those hooks. But the bottom was hooks the other direction, so we could hang the other spines hanging down. And then these guys would hang from the bottom hooks, and then the map at the bottom would hang from the very bottom one. So yeah, it worked surprisingly well, and I wanted to do 2 bars with 2 sides on each so that the alignment would be guaranteed, and that if stuff started breaking, we'd have some redundancy so that, if pieces broke off, it'd still work. And so we just learned that, we had some redundancy that saved us, and we also had not enough redundancy because these 2 pieces are sitting over there because these spines just broke. But anyway, that's the idea, and it's pretty cool that you can just slap the thing together, just click in, and this is a hard one because there's 2 connections, but yeah, it's that quick to get it on there. So yeah, that was our last-minute engineering project. But yeah, we're I think out of time, but
Okay.
yeah, we can do.
So, as you might be able to tell, we spent a lot of time on a lot of different things. There's not enough time to talk about all the things. The table numbers were a lot of fun stuff too. We don't have time. If you want to know about it, ask about it in the Q&A. Another thing that was a huge impact on our wedding was knowing people with skills and knowing that those people have access to machines that can do what your vision is. And so we are very grateful that we had Jordan, who we were able to commission to make 160 or so of these custom wine glasses over on the Pearl laser on the Rotary, which is also a class that she teaches. So if that's something that you want to learn, she can teach you how to do it. Also, if you want to commission her to do it for you, she has a business and she does that. She also gave us this really incredible wedding gift of a citrine stone slab that she laser etched our wedding branding into with our wedding date, May the 4th be with you. And this is super special, so I don't really want to pass it around, but please do look at it and admire it because it's really amazing and beautiful. And this was done over on Pearl as well, the Pearl laser. Our small lasers class is where you can learn how to use that one. This is citrine. Yeah. It's a very muted citrine. Citrine sometimes has a lot of yellow in it, and she very thoughtfully chose this stone because it was one of the stones that we had in our wedding. We're weird, and we had a lot of weird decor that you can kind of see a little bit of on this page, but there were also a lot of stones in the wedding decor, and also mushrooms, which you can see peeking through around here. So anyway, yeah, we had a lot of rocks at our wedding. Yeah, because we rock. I like that. All right, so yeah, that's our wedding.
We should probably wrap up, yeah. Thank you.
I think we only have a little bit of time for questions.
I'm going to start unpacking also.
The glasses are from JDS Industries. They're a wholesale supplier. They will ask for your tax ID number, so you do have to be registered as at least a sole proprietor or something to be able to order from them. But they're fantastic. They have a lot of stuff, and they sell very ready to make products. I guess they're like finished products that you can just customize, and then they're good to go. Gifts, sell, whatever. Steve?
Did you guys ever think about putting together a cookbook on what you did?
Did we ever think about putting together a cookbook on like this wedding decor stuff specifically? I think we're still trying to recover from the wedding. It was, 2.5 months ago, I guess now, and we still haven't finished our like post-wedding to-do things and thank you cards and things like that. So we're not thinking about that yet, but it's good to know there's interest. Other questions, Evan?
Yeah, who made all the desserts?
Who made all the desserts? We hired a caterer. It was Soho Catering, and so they made all the desserts. Yeah, and then our wedding cake. I don't think I ended up putting a picture of it here, but one of the things that we passed around was the cake flavors of the wedding cake. It was a birch tree tiered cake with mushrooms growing out of it. And then the groom's cake, we had them do a pandan cake because we really love pandan, and there's a story behind that, but there's no time for it. So ask me later. Bronislav?
Yeah, given that you had such a wide scope of stuff you did, is there anything there that you do differently?
Well, for one, I would try not to do it in 4.5 months while working a full-time job and also having a second full-time job as a volunteer executive director. That would probably be one. I think there were some things that we had hoped and planned to do that we didn't end up getting done, and so we definitely started with more than this, and then as we were getting closer to the deadline, created a priority list and said, okay, this, we're down to the wire. This is no longer a thing. This is no longer a thing. And we as ambitious as we were with our projects and the decor, we also made sure to prioritize that we actually spent time with each other and family and friends the week of the wedding and the days leading up to the wedding, because as beautiful as all this stuff turned out, it's not really worth it if you're not like enjoying the experience and the people that are there celebrating with you. So I don't know if that actually answered the question, but hopefully.
On the big initials, was that painted?
Yeah, this was alcohol ink for the monogram initials here. They had a gate at the venue, and so we asked if we could put our own monogram on it. I really love using alcohol ink with laser cut stuff. When you use it with wood, you're still able to see the grain of the wood, but you get really vibrant colors. And when you use it with acrylic, you can get the really cool effects of alcohol ink itself, which I did not talk about, but in our wedding invitations, these envelope liners we actually made in part with the loving child labor of my 8-year-old nephew, who had a great time doing it. But you can start to see a little bit in this picture the cool effects that alcohol ink gets. It's a really fun medium to play with, and it pairs really nicely with lasers, and especially like I'm really into making jewelry with the lasers, and you can do some really cool stuff with that. So,
Still green?
yeah. No. He's shed a few layers of skin, so my nephew's hands are not green anymore. I think we're way over time, so we're going to cut it on questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so
we would
much. Let's
love
go
to answer
around.
any other questions.
Yes.